Dear friends and viewers, welcome back to you BIOZEE classes. In today's session, we are going to discuss about implantation. So, as we have already discussed how the mitotic divisions occur after the formation of zygote to form an embryo. So, after the formation of embryo, it has to get itself attached to the endometrial lining. That is what we are going to discuss. That is what we call it to as the implantation process. So let me tell you the definition first. What is implantation? It is a process, dear friends. So where the attachment of blastocyst I have already told you, it is a embryo which is around 32 or in fact 64 celled. So that has to get itself attached to the endometrial lining here. When it gets attached to the endometrium or the endometrial lining of uterus, that process we call it as implantation. And to itself get attached to the endometrial lining, it needs a special tissue. We call that as placenta. So placenta will help in the attachment of the embryo, in fact, that is we call it the blastocyst to the endometrial lining. So this is the definition of implantation, my dear friends. So next let us move on discussing what all the changes we can observe with respect to implantation. Dear friends, implantation requires minimum of 3 to 4 days, and initially it gets completed on the 9th or 10th day after fertilization process. So it requires an important hormone called as progesterone. It requires an hormone called as progesterone. This hormone is in fact also referred to as implantation hormone. If implantation has to occur, if the attachment of blastocyst to the endometrial lining has to occur, we need an hormone which is important here. That is we refer it to as the progesterone. Dear friends, furthermore, let me tell you that the trophoblast cells, here we have, so these trophoblast cells are important, because they create a slit in zona pellucida and they also secrete certain lytic enzymes. So, in fact, when it secretes that, so definitely that trophoblast comes in contact with the endometrial lining. So, remember this, the trophoblasts are the outer cells. So, the outer cells will come in contact with the endometrial lining of uterus after it secretes certain lytic enzymes, like for example, like they secrete the enzymes which are trypsin like. Dear friends, furthermore, the lytic enzymes of trophoblasts are also important not only for the breakdown of endometrial cells, but they are also important for absorption of water, nutrients, and in fact for the formation of the projections, finger-like projections called as villi. So all this role, are performed by the trophoblast cells, dear friends. So further, dear friends, so the villi which is formed, is important for, in fact, the absorption of nutrients and also for, penetrating itself into the endometrium of uterus. When villi gets clearly penetrated inside the endometrium of uterus, it is important for fixation. Fixation means what again? As I said the embryoblast cells, if it has to attach properly to the endometrial lining, dear friends, we need the villi. Okay, friends. So other than the absorption of nutrients, it also helps in fixation. That is attachment of embryoblast cells to the endometrium. Further, dear friends, so after implantation is completed, that is after the blastocyst attachment to the endometrial lining of uterus, we find that the inner mass of cells, that is the embryoblast cells which are present, will form the ectoderm, that is the outer layer, mesoderm, that is the middle layer, and we can say endoderm, which is the inner layer. We represent it as the primary germ layers. So just remember that the primary germ layers, that is ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, are formed after implantation from the inner mass of cells. So which are the inner mass of cells, dear friends? So the embryoblast cells. So fine, dear friends. So let me tell you that furthermore, the embryoblast cells are also in fact referred to as, the inner mass of cells is also referred to as the stem cells. Why do we refer them to as stem cells? Dear friends, let me tell you that these cells have the potential, the ability to in fact form, to give rise to various tissues of the body, and also it forms the organs in adults. In fact, so because of this reason, we call the inner mass of cells or the embryoblasts as the stem cells. Further, dear friends, now let me tell you, if implantation is completed, so what reference can we derive from here? That it is leading to pregnancy. So that is what the final, in fact, meaning about, the completion of implantation we can derive.